Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Or if you're just watching this retroactively, you're in for a special treat. Today, we are joined by Rome Bifia. He is a revolutionary activist, part of a party called the Care Party. And he's also part of the organization's Tour for the Poor and the very famous, very good friends of mine, Revolutionary Blackout Network. And just something on RBN, they had myself on after I had done the intervention on AOC. And so I'm really happy to have Rome on here with us because he's been doing a lot of great work. And before we talk about that, I want to introduce Anastasia Battle, who's also an amazing friend of mine. And Anastasia Battle is the editor-in-chief of the Leonora magazine, also known as the Obama Interventionist. And as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Kynan Thistlethwaite. So let's just get started. Rome, you've been doing a lot of good work, and I know there's a lot we want to touch upon. And actually, just to kind of like lay the groundwork here a bit, there's a speech by Malcolm X, "What is the Black Revolution?" And in it, he talks about reviving the spirit of the Bandung. Because he was at the Bandung conference, and he talks about all these nations that all think differently, and but they were able to come together and figure out a solution and work it out. And actually, we are calling for something similar today in the spirit of the Bandung. Now, we're not going to talk about that just this minute because I just want to give people a sense of like exactly who you are and the work that you're doing out in Flint. And then we're going to come back to that, and Anastasia can speak on our take on the spirit of the Bandung today. So, Rome, you have the floor. Go ahead. Tell us what you're up to.
Oh, man. Yes, and I love that. And one thing that I always like to point out is he always mentioned not having our enemies at the negotiation table, because the only way they was able to come to terms of agreement is when they didn't have their enemies in between them at the negotiation table, whispering in people's ears or sliding notes past under the table saying, hey, this guy's a joke, this guy's a lie, blah, blah, blah. It was all Black and brown people trying to get their communities together. But as far as the work that I'm doing, I basically am a terrorist, in the eyes of the US. Not only do I help the people that they neglect, I tell the people, I teach the people, who's neglecting you, how much power they actually have, how much your life can actually be different if your government actually gave a fuck. And a lot of people are considered terrorists, whether they might not even know it or not. They might, like a lot of my friends in the Black Lives Matter movements, they end up not being able to fly because they end up on a terrorist watch list just for going out there protesting about rights that our grandfathers and our great grandfathers been protesting about. And it's sickening, but it is what it is. You got to move how you move. And if you are considered a terrorist when you know that you are trying to do nothing but bring good, but bring liberation, then you are not the terrorist. These people are the terrorists. They just the ones with the power to label you. But if you're going to call me a terrorist, then I'm going to take this and do all the good that I can with it. And when people see what you are calling me and the work that I have done, like I have a lot of people that come from the right and the left, and they be like, damn, man, I really don't agree with this and that, but you be on point with this and that with the giveaways and et cetera, et cetera. But that's how I pull them in. Cause I'm like, okay, bro, I wouldn't even have this. I wouldn't have to do this if your government did its job, whether you was right wing, left wing, right? I wouldn't have my position in today's. So that's how I get them, and a lot of people always say, oh, you just don't say the C word. Just don't say the C word. No, you should say the C word. You should say what the fuck you are. How are they going to know who you are? How are they going to know your move? How are they going to take you serious if you're calling yourself a socialist, libertarian, a MAGA communist, or no? What we do with this time, what everybody is starving, gas is going up, unaffordable, people are getting evicted left and right. We go out there and we wave our flags. We help our people. We pass out our literature, and that's how we're going to get our movement going and started and strong, because we starting from the ground up. And a lot of these, and a lot of reasons why movements don't last long is because they are top down, pyramid scheme type, Sunshine Movement, DSA, et cetera, et cetera. It comes from a government and it comes down to the people, and now it's top heavy. Now it's top heavy and it's ready to fall any day. But I'm glad that y'all had me. I love the work that y'all are doing. You know, y'all look a little bit younger than me. I'm not gonna guess anybody's ages, but got a lot of work to do because a lot of people haven't been stepping up. You have a lot of work to do, and that's the only reason why I do so much. I don't sit down is because nobody is standing up, you know. And if you guys have the balls to go out there and tell these motherfuckers to their face, now I applaud you, because sometimes people might have disagreements, but they're gonna still bow down to power when they see it. But when you see power and you can call it out for its faults, and you know, and its positives, then that makes you a truther. That makes you a fighter. That's what makes you a communist, or whatever the fuck you guys call yourself, a socialist. But we have to fight power where it is held. And I love what you guys are doing. It's courageous as fuck. It's a little stupid because you guys don't have an organization backing you with, you know, make sure your name lives long. But keep doing what you're doing. I'm pretty sure the people are gonna be on your side.
Man, that's a great way to start this conversation, because Anastasia, well, you know what? Go ahead, Anastasia. Why don't you speak and say what you know what you think?
Well, I would like to say I appreciate the work that you're doing, what you're doing out here in Michigan, especially, you know, out there in Flint. A lot of people don't know that there's still lead in the water. There's still people that are suffering out here, and nothing's been done. We're basically living in a third world country. And I've been a member of the LaRouche movement going on 15 years. I've been doing this for 15 years. I joined when I was 18 years old. And we've really reached a moment right now, like what you're bringing up with the spirit of Bandung. You've got all of these groups, all of these nations that have finally just said, enough. Fuck it. I'm not going to continue to do this. I'm going to stand up and we're going to call out colonialism, imperialism for what it is. So this opportunity is not just going to keep going for long. And what we've done, Jose, what you and Kynan did with the first really big intervention on AOC, I know you did a few others before that, but that intervention on AOC really hit hard with people. And it sparked a lot of other people to say, do I have the courage to stand up and say the truth? You know, it definitely inspired me. You know, my husband Stuart and I were the ones that yelled at Obama. You know, and said,
my girlfriend got cancer. She was like, we about to go to Jamal Bowman shit and we about to call him out. I'm like, sit your sick ass down.
You should, you know, and record it. Because you know what, we're in the 21st century, right? Because you get this stuff out, it's not just the people that are in that room, it's the people that are going to be all over the internet, right? You know, you got talk show hosts now that are saying, hey, look at this, look at this, look at it. And, you know, so you can actually make a much bigger impact than just, you know, you're not just one person, right? You're not just one person.
This is why I always say it's a propaganda game. You know, people don't like the word propaganda because they have been used against us. But in a world where most Americans only learn with propaganda, this is something that we're going to have to take advantage of and teach them with propaganda. Like, I don't actually change people's lives. I change more minds than I change lives. So when I'm going out here, I'm not only giving out water, clothes, food, this and that. I'm talking about socialism and communism. I actually got a communist flag everywhere I go. Like, it's one in my car, one at my boy house, my brother house, my mother house. Everywhere I go, there's a flag for me to push my propaganda. And to pull people left with this message, like this, it's a dirty game. It's a dirty game. Yes, we are kind of like brainwashing people, but it's for a good cause. It's for a greater cause, even. Because the way we have been brainwashed is to hate each other. Is for me to look at you and be like, oh, this is a white woman. What the fuck I should? Why am I taking her opinion serious? The fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, no. We are all one. We are all the working class. And, you know, it won't work. One don't work without the other. So,
Just for the record, my maiden name is Mares.
oh, so you are, dang, what is your ethnicity?
Mexican American.
Yeah, Mexican American.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't
Yeah,
want to
no,
say
no, but I
anything.
get confused for that a lot. But
Yeah.
you're right, it shouldn't matter, right? Why does it matter? I've gotten into fights with people, right, over this stuff just because of my skin color. You know, here in Detroit, right? It's like, okay, but I know about George Shirley. I know about the Negro spirituals. I know about Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. I worked with Black Panthers. I did. I was trained by a Black Panther. Like, I have so much respect for these people. This is how I think. I think about things in this way. There's a certain honor and dignity that comes out of these circles that I absolutely appreciate and love, and it's something universal.
And it's kind of rare, you know, to be totally honest. Like I always tell people, like we are in our echo chamber, so everybody is everybody, right? I'm an atheist, so most of my followers are atheists. You know, they are activists or lefties, whatever. I'm in my echo chamber. You're in your echo chamber. But when you get out into the real world, you know, a lot of Mexicans and Blacks have real heat for each other, and this is the greatest time, you know, to not talk over each other, but to talk to each other and with each other about the things that we're going through, because I guarantee our communities are going through the same shit. You know, I guarantee our people are going through the same shit, but it's that individual mindset. It's that capitalism that has been pushed on our people. Like even when gangs first started, you know, had our Black gangs, our Mexican gangs, they wasn't gunning after each other. They was gunning at the power. They was going at the corrupt governments and getting blackmail, you know what I'm saying? Taking over territories and, you know, feeding their people, policing their neighborhood. But what did these capitalists do? They said, okay, we throw enough money in drugs, give them enough guns, they end up killing each other. And that's exactly what happened. They push individualism on us, and through our movies, through our TV shows, all that shit, propaganda us to hate each other. And this is why, you know, I don't see a person from another ethnicity and be like, oh, you trying to school me on some shit they already know, or you trying to teach me something. You think you're better than me? You think you're smarter than me? Nigga, you ain't the smartest motherfucker in the world. And all you Americans are dumb. All you Americans are dumb on a scale from this country to other countries, even third world countries that have been getting bombed by us for a decade now. You still ain't smarter than them. So you don't know everything. You might know a lot, but you don't know everything. And there's a lot that we can learn from each other. And once we start to learn, we stop the hate. Once we stop the hate, we start to unionize. Once we unionize, we are more powerful than they can ever realize. They can't stop us. They can't stop us. The whites, the Mexicans, the Blacks got together and like, you know what? It's only like 20 of these motherfuckers. Let's get them. You know, they go to your grocery stores. They eat at your favorite restaurants. Poison them. You're their pool boy. Drown them. You're this and that. Take that L. Because you're not helping. You're not only helping us, you're helping millions of people, nations of people around this world. Just from one fucking person. It's only a handful. And I'm happy that there is a monopoly. I'm happy because like how we talking about how other countries are coming up, just like how BRICS are forming together. BRICS won't succeed if we don't lead. If we don't stop the shit that's going on right here, BRICS won't succeed the way that they plan to. So in order for them to actually stand up against America and the US imperialist system, we have to stand up and cripple it from the inside so they can cripple it from the outside. And we can actually let these countries be and let people grow. But I'm gonna let y'all talk.
Well, just some reflections on some of the things you're saying here, because you know, one, we don't have to propagandize people. We can tell the truth, and you can tell the truth in a provoking way to get somebody to think. Because you know, the most important thing, which is what's missing with a lot of people, is that they don't think. Right? They're just repeating things. They're hearing things and repeating things, and so they're trying to fit in somewhere. And instead of people trying to fit in somewhere, we can provoke them to have a thought. right? You could do that by posing an irony. Like I go out in the streets, I organize. I went to Wayne State and we made a sign that we turned a swastika, a windmill into a swastika, in the shape of a swastika, and it said green energy more efficient than Auschwitz. And it flipped people out. It flipped people out. But you know what? People came up to us and they were just like, what the hell are you talking about? What are you talking about? And we're just like, look, do you realize that the environmentalist policy has nothing to do with saving the environment? It's about depopulation. It will kill more people than the Nazis, and it already has. And we started going through this.
Animals.
They're treating people like animals.
But this is why you agree with me, because we're not actually, like, the propaganda, it comes in many forms. It comes in many forms. Some is good for the people, because look, the Americans are only learning through propaganda. We got to feed them teaspoons. We can't just drop a whole bunch of knowledge on these idiot Americans. We got to pull them in and say, what, like when I go into these conservative neighborhoods, I'm helping their grandmothers, I'm helping their mothers, their daughters, and they look outside and they see a black guy with a fucking communist flag in a redneck neighborhood. They don't know, what the hell? Well, Mima just went to go get some eggs from him and some water. Oh, let me see what's going on. I'm like, oh, you're a communist. Oh, yeah. I believe in, the working class. I don't believe in none of that racism bullshit. You know what I'm saying? We all one, we all the people, blah, blah, blah. You pull them in little by little. Propaganda comes in many forms, but you can't just drop a whole bunch of knowledge on a motherfucker. That's why, I'm not saying, that's why a lot of people are saying, like, RBN is against theory. No, it's not we are against theory. It's that you got to be hands-on with your shit before you can read some shit to America. They're not reading these books. They're not. Most Americans not reading no books. They don't give a fuck. These people are working, they are consuming, and they looking. And you gotta have an ad right there. Boom, 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 boom. So when I do my benches, that's another form of propaganda. You're gonna say no to that bench? This fucking bus stop never had a bench all my life. And I put a motherfucking fight the empire, destroy capitalism, rebuild with socialism. You're gonna sit your ass down. You're gonna read it and you're gonna sit your ass down. That shit is gonna manifest. It's gonna manifest on you. Like, what the fuck does motherfucker mean? Then you see another bitch, like, damn. Don't disarm yourself for a country that would send arms against you. Oh shit, this nigga right. Just give him to him a little dosage. It's all propaganda because we're not changing lives. We're just sparking minds. That's all.
Well, that's when it gets fun, though, is when people actually start to change the way that they think, not what they think, right? But how they think.
Yeah.
Because who gives a care? Who really cares if somebody agrees with you or not?
Yeah.
Right. But it's how they think about something, because then you can actually get to something truthful. Right. Because if you just have people running around agreeing with you, but they don't really know why or what they're fighting for or what they're saying, then it really doesn't matter. Yeah. They're going to drop off at the end of the day. They're not going to stick with this idea. You're not actually creating real change. And that's the problem I see with a lot of like the sloganeering crap, politics in general, is just people saying lines, getting people to agree with lines, but there's really no thought process.
They don't have, and then they don't have a real organization to pull people in. Because I always go and check on these people like, yeah, we had built this for the people. Oh, you did? Like, I done have people give me their son's phone numbers. They like, get my son off the streets. And that's what the mission is, to help people, pull people in and whatnot, and how to manifest them. It was like, damn, I thought the communist sign was a bad sign. What the hell? Like, we are in Detroit. We black man, we dropping off these, you know what I'm saying? We doing all this shit under the communist, under the Union flag. They're like, damn, all the shit I learned was bullshit. All the shit, how can we do this? How can I do that? Like, I can't show you my emails or whatnot, but I have people from all different type of ethnicities now, and it took them a while. It took them a minute. They might not agree with me with atheism. They might not agree with me on a lot of things, but they agree with me that America needs to go. The U.S. imperialist system needs to go. We need to restart, and all power to the people. But you know, you're only gonna get there if you gonna help them in some way. Like always, my goal is to help you in your sleep. How can I help you in my how can I go to sleep and know that I'm still helping people? You know, that should be everybody goal every day. You know what I'm saying? Just what can I do? That's why I started building benches and I start, you know, we building a library right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, building a library. I got a garden. I'm gonna build a thrift store on there. Everything that we're gonna be selling is gonna be $10 and less because the thrift stores out of Michigan is just
I know.
horrible. Horrible. So,
You try to buy a table, it's like freaking $50
man,
for a used table.
15 mile in Gratiot on Thursdays. They do pound. They do. You can buy about a pound at the Salvation Army. I know that they just started doing that, but it's just too out of hand. So I was like, yeah, it's time to do something. It's time to do something about this. So, you know, you meet their needs, and they like, well, these people. They're not going to turn down communism. We're the only people out here helping them. Like people like, who else gonna fucking do it? Who else gonna do it? You gonna call on these capitalists? Go ahead. I'll wait. Go ahead and wait for that check. Well, I can pay. I can help pay your rent right now.
Well, you know, there's two things to say to that. One, I have two responses to that. One, I think this conversation is in the spirit of the Bandung, especially what Malcolm was talking about, that if you have people who are trying to solve the same problem, but come at it from different methods, there's no reason to fight each other because you're all, at the end of the day, still trying to solve the same problem. And so, you know, it's cool. But I will pose this to you, though, because you said this in the beginning, right? If the government was doing its job, you wouldn't need to be out there, right? Giving water, opening up thrift stores and libraries and stuff, right? So I guess a question that I would pose to you is, well, then shouldn't we be then diverting our energy towards trying to change it as a whole, trying to change the government as a whole and trying to change society as a whole, rather than taking actions that benefit one community? Because, you know, it's not just Detroit, you know, you got Oakland, you got the Bronx, you got this place, that place, right? So, you know, wouldn't the greatest good be to change everything?
See,
what do you think?
This is a great thing for, like, this is why I have Tour for the Poor. I have been all over this country, West Coast, all through down south, you know, multiple times, you know, New York, and I've been through I've been through here, and I'm trying to get the feel of how the revolution would actually be and what would be our strongholds and what type of neighborhoods we can use and whatnot. Everybody has a place in the revolution. Some people don't want to be violent. Some people want to be violent. Some people want to be on the internet, et cetera, but everybody has a place. And that's what I really go out and preach more than anything, because it's not about just one community. That's just my community. I'm getting together. And I'm showing people that if I can do it in Detroit, of all places, you can do this shit. It don't take much. All it takes for you is to talk your shit. How did you get? My mother asked me, my cousin, what the fuck? What happened? Like, your life just changed. Talk shit. Talk your shit. This shit been burning at the back of my brain. I've been wanting to say death to America since I was 10 years old. Since I can talk. I've been seeing my life and my family, my neighborhood decay around me. They always said, the man. Who the fuck is the man? Y'all got us mad at random white people. No, we need to put these pieces. Who is the man? Who's actually controlling this and who's taking away from our people? When I started learning from different perspectives, I was like, yeah, this shit has to go. You know, so yes, it's gonna have to be an overall, you know, fight. But let me tell you this, it's not. It's gonna be a fight in certain major communities that's gonna make a mark, that's gonna really spark a revolution overall, because we're kind of outnumbered here, you know, considering the people that's conservative, you know, white people that's not really on our side, the liberals that's gonna jump right once we, you know, so it's gonna be a lot of communities that's really feeling it right now, you know, like Flint and, you know, certain towns in Mississippi, Jackson, Mississippi. I was just down there giving out water. It's going to be revolutions, certain revolutions happening in those communities. It's going to have a domino effect, you know, with the communities that's feeling it the most, because everybody don't feel the same pain that we are feeling right now. Everybody isn't affected by, you know, the Senate's and the president's decisions. So they're not going to give a fuck. And so it's going to be up to us. And a lot of people fear that, you know, we're going to be overthrown. Don't fear that we're going to be overthrown, because if we was to be overthrown, Obama would have been overthrown, Bush would have been overthrown, Clinton would have been overthrown. These people don't question power. You know, once we actually take power, once we show that we are powerful, once we actually, you know, take what's ours, even a naysayer is going to be like, all right, yeah, let me not fuck with them, because they obviously going to get me back. So that's why I'm not worried about, you know, if we actually have a revolution, if I come into power, somebody's like, if you come into power, aren't you scared of getting assassinated? Like, no, that comes with the fucking job. Like, but everybody.
What I think a lot of people don't know is that many people have been following LaRouche for a long time and have been closet LaRouches, closet LaRouche followers, you know, because they've been scared to come out and say that. And when I go out and I talk to people now, right, we've been around for over 50 years, right? I mean, I'm just basically like a spring chicken compared to some of these older members who've been around for 40 plus years, who have been doing this, who have nearly been assassinated, who were thrown in prison, right? Lyndon LaRouche was thrown in prison for what? What did he do? He went after the Bushes.
Off and off.
He exposed all of this stuff. And so what's really exciting right now, right? And there are a lot of our people are on this Ukrainian hit list, right? I don't know if you knew about that.
I was looking for my name. I'm like, shit.
I'm probably on there now. Jose's probably on there, and Kynan, if you're on there now, you're talking to us, you know. But we're on a hit list. Our people are on a hit list. And if they're not trying to kill you, then you're not doing anything.
Oh.
And people who say that, you know, I think that this revolution is going to look a little bit different than maybe like the fantasy world that people have about how revolutions work. You know, I'm going to grab my bayonet and I'm going to go out. We're going to get them. You know, like I don't think it's going to look like that. I think what it's more going to look like, right? It's going to look like Kenya saying, I'm not going to join your green colonialism. Or Uganda saying, I'm going to have an oil deal right at the COP meeting. I'm going to have an oil deal right in front of your face and do it, you know? And so what you're seeing are nations that are just not going to accept that. Mm-hmm. Right. And you can feel it, like here in the US, people don't want to accept this anymore. And I think we can unite because it's just so brazen. What they're doing is just so brazen. We're literally giving billions of dollars to Ukrainian Nazis.
They get way more than my neighborhood.
Nazis. And we have a city in Detroit of people that are living in literal bombed out houses, right? They have no electricity. People die in these homes, these abandoned homes, because there's no heat. There's no electricity, there's no water. And we're just like, oh yeah, we're just gonna give money to Nazis. It sounds like a great idea. Let's spark World War III. You know, I mean, it's all part of the same process, all part of this depopulation process, right? To keep people stupid, keep them down, keep them subservient in an empire system. And it's reached a breaking point. It really has. And it, like what you were saying earlier, you know, this BRICS process, that really does represent a unification of the world, people overcoming their ideologies. Nations who literally hated each other are coming together.
They're like, okay, I don't like you, you don't like me, but we don't like this nigga right here. Let's get rid of him. And we can fight later. And that's how I feel about the working class. We have a lot of differences. You know, a lot of prejudice against one another, whatever the fuck is. But you ain't my real enemy. Like, I'm not scared of you. You know, you don't have any real power. You can probably call the police on me and act like a fucking Karen or whatever the fuck, you know. But other than, nigga, what, bro? We got real enemies out here that I'm glad that you guys are calling out. I don't care about the backlash that you guys have got, because you know what? They talking. They talking. And if they ain't talking, it's a fucking problem. You ain't talking enough. You got the motherfucker, you got everybody petting city. Look at these people out here, and Tulsi Gabbard, whatever the fuck. I don't care about that. But y'all should leave politicians out of it. When you're fighting against other politicians, just keep it on the working class. If you don't have any other examples, like Malcolm X, Gandhi or whatever the fuck. But don't compare another politician to another politician, because that's all they want. It's fire, more fire to their flame. And then now they can deflect. Oh, it isn't about the Ukraine war anymore. These people are Tulsi Gabbard people. These people are fucking right-wingers. No, I'm anti-war. I am anti-imperialism. So this is how they always get your shit confused. This is why I was like, when all that progressive shit came out, I was like, yeah, some bullshit about to happen. Look what happened.
Yeah,
MAGA communism.
You know, the people that attack us, you too, that attack you and me, are the very people that got us into this mess in the first place. It's like, you got a lot of nerve.
But you didn't vote. Okay, if I would have voted your way, I would have voted for your guy, and I would have been in the mess that I made because you got me here. But it's crazy how they just point fingers everywhere else but the mirror. Everywhere else but the fucking mirror. And when we are pointing at them, it's not my fault. You guys don't get to complain. You didn't vote. Oh, yes, I get to complain. Oh, yes, I get to fucking complain. I live here. I pay taxes. My family, I got kids here. The fuck you mean I don't get to complain? But that's that individualism. And that's that cheerleading for these capitalists. That's why I don't take these people serious. And I want y'all to protect yourselves. I really do. If you're going to have the balls to go out here, you know, we are all human, politician, famous or not. You notice a face. You notice a motherfucker that hates you. You remember that. You go to sleep. They probably went to sleep on your faces like motherfuckers. You know, even no matter how they play it off, we all play it off. Some hate get to a nigga. They really do. Because sometimes that should be funny as hell. But sometimes that should be real. You know, but I want y'all to actually think about joining an organization or building an organization that's shaped around protecting activists and activism. Because if you're putting yourself out there around important people, calling them out for their crimes, what do you think is going to come to you? If you get famous off being a whistleblower, basically, what has happened to whistleblowers in the 21st century? We don't have to go back. What has happened to activists? What has happened to people that radicalize minds? And we have to protect your mind more than anything. It might sound like, damn, this is some violent shit, but how can you fight violence with nonviolence if their only language is violence? They don't understand you. They don't understand you. That's why I said you should have threw a shoe at Obama, bitch ass. He would have understood that shit.
Because what ended up happening, because we said what we said, then people started asking questions about, what do you mean Obama overthrew Ukraine in 2014? Yeah. He overthrew Ukraine in people actually started asking those questions. And this hit international news. What's that?
The slave trade. Ukraine slave trade, bitch.
He did.
Yeah.
So did Biden. Well, what the hell is this shackle and ship, with Haitians? It's literally slave trade. Literally. But that was another side thing. We had a famous sign that we got out that said, do Haitian lives matter? That we got out in Detroit. And boy, what's funny is that it didn't piss off Black people. It pissed off white liberals who thought they loved Black people.
These fucking right-wingers out here. I never I'm flabbergasted.
How could you say this? Of course. You know, it's like
Of course, Haitian lives matter. Okay, well, why the fuck they getting their ass whooped at the border? Why y'all
by
niggas ain't coming after
Biden.
them? And
This isn't Trump. This is Biden. It's not Trump. Why
they're
aren't
not
you
in
saying
cages
anything?
anymore. They in, detention facilities, whatever the fuck they called. I'm like, this is some gaslighting ass bullshit, man. If I was around some of these people, y'all lucky I'm not part of y'all clique, because I probably I would have got kicked out for punching one in their ass. Like, Rome, you gotta calm down, man.
Yeah, probably. I probably would have said that, but you know, you would have had fun with me out on these deployments, though. Jose was there. Jose was there. We had 40 people at one of these tables. Kind of, I think you were there too, right? Were you at this one, or was just Jose? Yeah, okay. We had 40 students yelling at us at this table, and Jose's just like, Anastasia, you want to jump in on this?
Like, hold on, nigga, I need some backup. Come on. But real talk, because I remember he jumped in on the ALC shit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they was like, all right, shut the fuck up. They thought it was over. Actually.
See, this is all part of my plan. It was training, right? We were training.
We're not done.
Well, that was actually Kynan's first time, like actually standing up, because I had done Bowman before, and then I did Kamala Harris before, and I did other people before, but I don't know, you wouldn't know this, but like Kynan's really shy sometimes, and he's like very reserved to himself, right? So you would never think Kynan was, and he was the first one to stand up too. You know, Kynan.
Yeah, it was. I was kind of scared, to be honest, but like once you do it, once that adrenaline rushes in you, it's like the best experience in your life, you know. And Jose, you can attest to that. But you know what, this entire conversation has been really amazing, by the way. It's reminded me of a speech by Adam Clayton Powell Jr., who was a congressman from New York back then. And since we've been talking about, you know, the Bandung spirit and the non-aligned movement, he was actually the only United States representative to go to that conference when the State Department was explicitly telling him not to, you know, because there's communists there, you know, we can't be affiliated with that at all. But he defied the State Department and he actually went there. But he was known for giving these very famous sermons in New York. And one of them, Jose, you know it very well, is, what do you have in your hand? What power do you have as a citizen? And he talks about this story about Moses, who God is talking to him. And he's saying, you know, what do you have in your hand, Moses? And he says, all I got is a stick. And then God says to him, well, let me show you what you can do with that. And as a result, you know, he parted the Red Sea. And, you know, I think that's, whether you believe in it or not, I think that story just shows to tell you what power we have as human beings right now. You don't have to have this massive following, you know, you don't have to be big or whatever. You don't have to be a politician. Just stand up and do what's right. I mean, we're facing nuclear war right now with Russia. And this is a point in which every citizen, whether you're, you know, Democrat, Republican, communist, whatever the hell you are, you got to be standing up and actually saying something and doing these kinds of things, what you're doing.
Thank you, bro. Because they try to make this shit look like a popularity contest. They try to make it look like it's harder than what it is. But a high school dropout from Detroit is outshining you niggas. You can't tell me that this shit is impossible. I have touched ends of this goddamn country. You're not about to tell me that, oh, it's so hard, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. Most likely you need to have a high school diploma, go here. I got an LLC, nonprofit. I'm out here doing it. I never even thought a day about college. I thought I was gonna die of fucking GD on 6 Mile. Just a couple of years ago. You can do what the fuck you want. You don't, like you said, you don't need a big platform. Your base will build itself. Just talk. Just talk. A lot of people might not relate, but a lot of people will relate. And it might not be popular, but it's moral. We are dealing with a country where people that want to go to war with the DPRK and they think bombing is okay. Like, this isn't, these people aren't right in their mind. So if you are thinking differently than the public, than what the public say, then congratulations, you're on your way to the fucking left. You know, but I love that you guys are standing up. I love that courage, man. And I know it's like a ticket time bomb. I use like a ticket time bomb. The first one was like, all right, next time I might jump in and say so. It's like hopscotch. So I'm be like, you know what? All right, here go the time. Actually, motherfuckers out here funding war. Like you thought you was gonna shut us up, but this is what we need. We need more leaders. We need more leaders. It doesn't take much to be a leader. All it takes is for you to stand up and lead. Like, you know, you're not gonna have everybody. You might not even be popular. I'm known, but I'm not popular. I am not popular, you know, like a lot of my co-hosts are. You know, most of them got more followers than me, even though I'm on the ground, I'm doing this and that. But you know, it just depends on like I'm not approachable as them. I'm not as approachable as them. I don't play that shit. I'm not saying that they do, but I will really cut into you or block you or whatever the fuck, because fuck you, you know, at the end of the day, because I'm not here to sit on the internet and fight, knowing that I'm, you know, if you follow me, you know I got to get ready to go feed people and shit like that. So I'm not even trying to get into all that bullshit. But, you know, it is what it is, man. Somebody was like, oh, man, you deserve a bigger platform. I'm just like, wow. So I'm doing great with the base I have.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I get bigger and then what? Like, I'm only human. I might get my head too blown up, might think I'm fucking famous, do some fucking dumb shit out in fucking public, somebody record it and be like, oh, Rome fucking bougie now. Some dumb shit. Like, no, I'm good with what I got. I'm blessed with what I have. The people that have my back, we came so fucking far. You know, I had over fucking 17 pages and they stuck with me all through this shit, you know, even through my darkest moments, my younger moments when I was bigoted and I didn't know better. You know, it seen me through a lot of shit, and I'm glad that I have the people that I have right now. What you guys are building right now is strong, and the only way you're gonna keep it is actually being serious about your life. And like we were saying earlier before we even started, and I wanted to talk to you guys about, you know, protecting yourselves, because I really fear for you. You know, a lot of people say, because I cuss out the police, I go after this and that. But you guys are, you know, if you're gonna hit power directly where it's at, please have power where you are at. Please have somebody protecting you, please, because this is a dirty game. It's a dirty game. I done seen people get taken out for less, you know, get locked up in prison for less, just forgot about. You think that the corporate media is gonna, you know, talk about you guys being locked up for years on end if you was to cuss out the police, if they forgot about you in the system? You know, you need that. You need, if you was to get locked up, if all four of y'all get locked up, all three of y'all get locked up right now. No organization
that's okay.
to come to the jail.
You're gonna get the bail money for us.
Yeah, we're gonna get the bail money, but how the fuck we gonna know y'all in jail? How the fuck we gonna know? You know,
That's why we've been so outspoken about what we're doing.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you go out there loud about what you're doing and you're broadcasting what you're doing, right? We held all these meetings like with Scott Ritter and Ray McGovern, all these different whistleblowers, right? To talk about these death lists, right? Diane Sayre, you know, I mean, God, I mean, that woman, man, I mean, they really want to kill her, you know.
What's so crazy? I had a death list. And that should remind me like of some little kid shit. Like, I'm gonna kill this motherfucker. This many, I'm gonna stab this motherfucker this many times, have my brother on there. Like, you know, I'm just gonna get you. I'm so sick and tired of being bullied. I'm gonna kill all you motherfuckers tonight.
Literally, that's how these Ukrainian Nazis think, though. They are like, I mean, that's how these Nazis think. They are like little kids, like, I hate you, you're gonna die. And, you know, and they take you out. You know, they put a bomb on your car, or they send somebody into your house at night or whatever, or politically assassinate you, which is sometimes even worse, right?
They be acting like, oh, this isn't about Russia. This isn't about us trying to overtake Russia. You guys sound like conspiracy theorists. Motherfucker, shut up. Nigga, through our movies, the enemies have been Russian. from gun movies to boxing, Rocky, all that shit. The toy soldiers, them little toys, they was Russian. You're not about to tell me that we're not programmed to hate these people, that we're not programmed to actually not care when it's time to go to war. Now look at how many Americans are agreeing, blindly agreeing. Like I have people in my family like, oh man, Russia doing this and that. I'm like, hold on, nigga, what? Look at this and that. These niggas, you know what I'm saying, 2014, taking through the things. They're like, oh shit, I didn't know that. Of course you didn't know, you from America. So stay in your place, bro. Stop acting like y'all are like, we're not taught foreign policy, not even in our schools. So when have these motherfuckers become experts on foreign policy? Especially on some Russia shit. Can you count me how many NATO bases are surrounding Russia and China?
Yeah.
Okay, then.
That's I forget the number off the top of my head, but it's like 30 or so, right? And I think 18 or 19 of those are just American.
You're not about to tell me, oh, we're just doing this out of love. We're sending guns and bombs out of love. Since when? Since when? You guys have backed the Nazis? Well, actually, we're the reason why Nazis are here. Don't try to gaslight me, because I'm gonna warm up my hands and smack your daddy on the back of his fucking head.
Yeah.
You know, I think oh, go ahead, Kanye. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to mention because we had Scott Ritter on our show. Oh, sorry. Someone's calling at the wrong time. But Scott Ritter, he mentions this all the time, that there's this camp in upstate New York called Ellensville. And they have this little Ukrainian training camp for youth. And like in the middle of where their site is, there's this statue of Stefan Bandera. And of course, he's the guy who collaborated with the Nazis, who killed over 10,000 Poles.
He's a Jew.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. And they literally they're training these people in this ideology, this fascist ideology. So when you say that, you know, we're being threatened when we're on this Ukrainian kill list, it's absolutely real. And I think it's, you know, it's serious, you know, the threat that it poses to us. But Anastasia, I actually wanted you to bring up your magazine that you're running, your Leonora magazine, because I think it corresponds to what you're talking about, is to how to actually get people think rather than just drawing slogans on them. But what do we need to get to have the US population thinking again? And if you could talk about that, that'd be fun.
Yeah. Well, a group of us founded this magazine with the idea of unifying science, art, and politics, of combining all three together, and to use this as a way to create, whether it's a metaphor, irony, history, looking at history, you know, to take people through what really happened, to give people insight into how to help change other people, right? Because way too often people think politics is just about getting people to agree. We were talking about this earlier. But if you really want to create actual change in the world, you have to get people to understand what's truthful and that process and how to get there. The process is far more important. So when, let's say, I'm thinking of something that was just in here in this last one. Okay, well, we had inside of the preview, there's an article from Jason Ross on Vernadsky and time. Vladimir Vernadsky was a Russian Ukrainian who went through all these different levels of life. You have abiotic, which it's rocks, you know, no life. Biotic, which is life, you know, animals and plants. And then you got the noetic, which is people. And what Jason goes through in this paper is looking at science over time, over history, and the development of science. And at the point now that we're at, we haven't actually made a fundamental breakthrough in understanding a new scientific idea. But people have been so, I guess you could say, washed with just terrible a terrible science, no rigor. I'll put that. They have no rigor in understanding anything, right? They've been like brainwashed with thinking that just because you have the right answer, like, oh yes, I believe in gravity. How do you know that? I'm not saying gravity is not real, but how do you know that? How do you know what gravity? Who discovered gravity and how did they do it? You really think it's because Isaac Newton got an apple thrown at his head? You know, I mean, God was probably just trying to get him to shut up, you know, to be honest. But, you know, so how do you actually get somebody, you know, to work through these kinds of things, right? They have to want it. If you want to create real change in the world, you have to actually break through this this intellectual courage. You have to know for a fact what you're saying. You have to know what you're talking about and have that rigor. So when you go up against somebody and they're saying some bullshit to you, you know that they're wrong for a fact that they are wrong.
Well, liberals
And
are
you can
scared to
gain
debate.
insight into how they're thinking. How are they thinking? How can you not trip them up?
Yeah.
Unless they're evil, you know, I mean, if they're evil, you want to trip them up, but but if they're just a confused person, you can gain insight into the problems that they have in their thinking, right? And get them to see those problems. And then you've actually recruited somebody to the mission. You've recruited somebody to this mission to uplift humanity to the next level. And I think that that's where we have to take people right now, especially youth, right? Especially youth. You know, I mean, I'm sorry, but there's so many old people that are just so fixed in the way that they think. You know, I mean, kill a commie for mommy. You know, I mean, I I was just fighting with one of these Michigan liberals, literally Michigan liberals. That was their Twitter account, and she thought she could take me on, and it was really hilarious.
No, they can't.
No, she had her butt handed to her. It was pretty funny. But there's just absolutely no rigor with a lot of these people. So you start getting folks to work through things like this, to work on poetry, to work on music, right? Dona nobis pacem. That's a song. It means grant us peace. And it's something that I'm working on here in Detroit, here in Michigan in general, but we're also doing nationally and internationally. We're creating choruses who are going out in the streets with candles during the day, whatever, to sing grant us peace. And we're bringing Black people together, communists, socialists, white, you know, liberals, whatever you want to call them, you know, anti-war people, you know, all different kinds of people together to do this. And it's incredibly moving. And we're seeing this in Europe as well. We're having more of these choruses growing in Europe, and we want to get more of this stuff going. You know, we have to supersede this ideology crap. People need to get over it. So I would say that's what we're doing.
Picking a team between what side are you on in the government? Like, I'm Republican, I'm Democrat. You ain't nothing. You ain't nothing. You barely a fucking taxpayer. Barely. But yeah, I definitely agree with you 100%. It's time to
all right.
And yeah. What you was about to say, Jose?
Yeah, we're coming up on the hour, and I don't want to take up too much of anybody's time. I think this was a very fruitful and positive discussion. And after we end the stream, I think we should figure out a way to connect and do some organizing. So I guess I just want this to kind of be let's take the last 5 minutes here to just do summary remarks, you know, say anything you want to say, and we'll end with you, Rome. We'll give our guests the last word here. And I would just say, you know, I think there's a lot of different things you could say and do. I think Paul Robeson and the tradition that he had of singing and uniting cultures through song, because, you know, he's part of the reason why I decided to learn how to speak some Russian. And, you know, also with the work that we do with the Schiller Institute chorus and stuff, you know, learning how to sing and the power of song. You know, Paul Robeson was blacklisted from Hollywood. He was politically assassinated, right? Mm-hmm. You know, the reason why his name is not as big as it should be today, it will be in the future, because we are going to, you know, bring justice to his name. But the reason it's not as big today, yeah, it's because they politically assassinated him. They blacklisted him, and they tried to erase his history and everything he's done. But, you know, Paul Robeson, that tradition needs to be revived right there, and his history should be known. And I think more Americans who know of him will understand why, the Russians were never our enemies. That was just something manufactured after World War II. So I'll just end it there, and then Kynan, go ahead, then Anastasia, and then Rome.
Yeah. No, this has been a really awesome discussion, and we'll definitely work out how to connect after this is done. I think I'll talk about how our chorus was formed, the chorus which Anastasia was referring to, the Schiller Institute New York City chorus. It was, right after the death of Eric Garner in 2014, when he was brutally murdered. And then you had all these riots, on the side of people attacking the police. And, it was just absolute chaos. And the way the chorus was formed was this idea of uniting everyone together on this idea of, singing beautiful music, singing Handel, singing Bach, the Negro spiritual, which Anastasia referred to, and when you do that, you get to see people's humanity, people working together from all different kinds of background. They actually discovered that they have a mind which unites them, despite their physical differences. They have a mind which unites them. They're all able to, think and create ideas. And this is something which is absolutely beautiful and defines the Dona Nobis Pacem process, where we're getting, all kinds of peoples from different backgrounds just to stop this drive towards nuclear war, which is, the biggest issue, I think, facing us today. Doesn't matter where you come from. You don't want to die, then you need to stop this drive towards war. So that's what I would stress, I think. This is the point of the channel, to get people on that we might not agree on completely on everything, but we all have something to say. We all have something to do. We have a mission which unites us. So
why do we have to agree with everything?
We don't.
Why do you have to mirror me? Like, that's some weird narcissistic. That's the weirdest shit that you can ask from a human. Like, oh, you don't agree with me 100%. Nigga, your girlfriend, your man, your family members, the ones that you love closest to you, that you would never throw away, they don't agree with you 100%, but y'all still have a fight and things in common with each other. It's not about agreeing. It's about living. It's about surviving.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Anastasia.
Yeah, I'll just say that, we are in a revolutionary moment right now, whether people realize it or not. I mean, these interventions, I got so many messages from people of support from all over the world wanting to do what we did. And more people have done that, wanting to go out and organize. And I think the key thing is what we were just talking about, that we have to have the intellectual courage. People have to know something. They have to know how to think, not what to say. And, if we're really going to inspire people right now, doing the work, actually doing the work and getting people to see, what the potential is actually in the world, in humanity, right? Because so many people have become cynical. They've become cynical about what human beings are because they've seen the worst in it, because we've had an evil system that has imposed on them the feeling of desperation, the feeling of depravity, a screwed up culture that makes them into animals, right? That treats them like animals, right? So how do you expect people to respond to that? Well, you respond to that by doing what we're talking about. You respond to that by bringing out the best in humanity, by proving that this is what humanity really is. And I'll actually sing to you guys the Dona Nobis Pacem song, so that way people know what this is, and get a sense of, you can take it out. You can take it out and go use it yourself. Dona nobis pacem, pacem. Dona nobis pacem. Dona nobis pacem.
Thank you.
Dang, hold on, bring her back. No, hold on. What was that? What language is that?
Latin.
Yeah, I was like, okay, that's either Latin or Spanish because I don't understand none of it.
Sure. It's just it's just the simple
But it's
3 words.
beautiful. It's so
Dona.
beautiful because it was so crazy. I was just listening to some hip hop opera, and that's exactly what if you put an 808 behind her, that shit probably a bang.
Yeah. Well, it's just a beautiful 3 words. Dona nobis pacem, grant unto us peace. That's all she's thinking. And I think, everybody, because what we're doing right now around the country is we're trying to organize vigils of people to just sing that at their church, in front of their whatever, wherever, at their local communist chapter. Grant unto us peace. It's a simple song. Anybody can learn it. Maybe we could do one in Detroit, But
Detroit need a lot of work.
Rome, go ahead. Any parting thoughts you got?
Man, other than I really appreciate you guys, for having the balls. No matter what these people thought about you, your backgrounds, or whatever the fuck, whatever you did in this world isn't close to what these motherfuckers have done. So I thank you, for standing up. I thank you when I'm encouraged. I was inspired to do more. To even like I said earlier, my girl was inspired, and she's sick as hell. She wanted to go out and do some shit like that. She's like, "Yeah, we should go out." I'm like, I wish we could, but
well, thank you, Rome. I
think
appreciate
you
that.
guys got that covered. I think everybody has a place in this revolution. Everybody has a place in the revolution. Everybody has a fight, and do what you do best. And if that's what y'all do best, be prepared for the outcome. Like I was saying earlier, I would hate to see you guys being bought off. They can't buy you off, and they send you off. Either way to go, you're not with us anymore. And I really want you guys to think about this, about protection, about learning to protect yourselves, learn how to fight different styles, learn how to shoot, and look out for yourself, because the world is bigger than our echo chambers on Twitter. The world is bigger than our neighborhoods and whatnot. You never know what can be sent to you. You never know who will be sent to you. They might come with a hoodie on and a mask. They might come with makeup and a dress. But they are out to get you. So protect yourself. And power to the people. That's all I got to say.
Damn right. All right. So stick around, Rome. I'm going to close out the show now. Thank you all for tuning in live. This was a lot of fun. And we'll see you next time.